February 13th, 2012. We've finally got some rainstorms coming in. 3 or 4 here on the west coast in succession. I hope the rest of the country fares well with them. We had some bad tornadoes. I called a friend, lives in Illinois, staying in Illinois right now, and he's okay. His friends are okay. My heart goes out to those that are going through a hard time back there. It just blows me away, you know, the destruction that a tornado does. I had a friend recently pass away of cancer, and I'm very grateful for hospice. My grandmother was cared for when she passed with hospice, and this friend of mine is the second person in a small group of people that I had the privilege to meet at a coffee shop and make some lasting relationships with. And recently I've been going over John David Ebert's lectures on Oswald Spengler's Decline of the West. So when this happened, one of my friends was, another one of my friends was working with the friend that had passed away, and for quite a few months now, and he was taking it hard. And with these lectures, you know, John David Ebert mentions McLuhan, I think it is, some philosopher thinker, I think was the one that coined the term integral consciousness, and he brought it up in Spengler's talk, and it resonated to me, because in my life I realized that when I brought up facts that pertain to the matter at hand, I often ran into people who had edited out and had great resistance to integrating certain aspects, certain realizations and facts of the matter, so that they could continue on the path that they saw fit for themselves. And I oftentimes ran into great violent resistance to the integral consciousness that, or perspective that I had, that included multiple perspectives, different facets on the same object. So, having been listening to this lecture, Spengler, as he describes, as Ebert describes, Spengler had mentioned that all mathematics arose from a great fear and terror of becoming conscious of death, our own death. And I'm not sure about first causes, but I can see the linkage there, and basically the way I interpreted it was that with the great fear and terror of becoming self-conscious of our own death, the mind naturally compensates and seeks to control outcomes, and mathematics is a very good way to be able to change outcomes and convince us that we are molding outcomes to our will. And I don't argue the point that it does. However, ultimately, we can't change the world. And I think our relationships help us to come to terms with this fact that it's not about changing the world, it's about living well in it while we have the life to live. So I was talking to him about these mathematics and giving him some specifics, and it helped him. And I told him, I said, you know, I'm only bringing this up because there are many, 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 many innumerable rituals that help an individual to integrate the experience of death. But for me, it came back down to control, the desire to control. And there's a lot of stuff going on underneath the surface that influence our behaviors that we are unaware of. And so our mathematics, with all the wonders that they've brought, don't really change the fact that we can become anxious and stressed out. We can have difficulty integrating certain experiences and can often refuse to incorporate certain experiences, certain events, certain facts into our lives so that we can continue to maintain a modicum of stability of mind. And when I look at it this way, I realize, you know, the troubles in the world are what they are. However, we're dealing with them as best we can, or as poorly. And there's not a shortage of judges who will pass judgment upon others for their choices and behaviors and natural responses to try to maintain what stability of mind they have eked out in their own life. And there are also not a shortage of others that don't seemingly have as difficult a time integrating certain life experiences